Oh, YouTube, it's been a while, but look, it's been a while since my last post. It's been about 3 months and I haven't stayed exactly as consistent as I wanted to, but I am man enough to know that there is no such thing as excuses. You know, we do have what we want to do in life, and excuses are what keeps us here when we want to be here. I know a lot of guys can relate to me, whether you're coming through to this video from Instagram, from TikTok. At the start of this year, this now is the 28th of September 2025, and on January 1st, I had 0 followers. It's now September 28th, and I've a total of nearly 20,000 followers. And you know, all I can say is it's been a journey, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed by God, and I thank Him every day for it so far. But I'm 23, and this all starts back years ago, like 15, 14, 13. I always knew there was something more. Like, I always knew there had to be something more, like, because I didn't want to get a job after school. I wasn't good in school. Life circumstances didn't make it easy. Like, you know, I grew up in a town called Limerick for a while in Ireland, and until I was like 10, and then I moved back up to where like a lot of my family would be, just because my mother hit a difficult time in her life, and you know, we had to be closer to family for some reasons. And this is where I would have spent the rest of my time until I became 18. And I always knew I was different. I always knew that emotionally I felt things more. In my mind, I processed things more, and I dreamt bigger. But being from this kind of small town in Ireland, I always felt like the way I perceived life wasn't the same as everybody. I didn't want to get a job. I didn't want to go to college. I just wanted to be free and do things that made me feel free. I wanted to get out of where I was from such an early age. I just wanted to move. And you know, in Ireland it's Australia, and that was where I was going to go for a while, just like everybody else. But as I got older, you know, and life started to life, you know how 1 month turns into 6 months, turns into 1 year, turns into 4 years. I ended up in an electrical apprenticeship, and this whole time, you know, I tried trading. I tried drop shipping. I seen a lot of success with drop shipping, but making all that money when I was like 19, 20 and 18, it sent me down the wrong path, and it made me turn to drugs, alcohol, surrounding myself with people who didn't actually see me for me. They just seen the short-term success, and I lost it all. I had to start all over again. And there's been a lot of that in my life, and that's why I'm so open with my journey, because there's been a lot of starting again. There's been a lot of falling to the ground. There's been a lot of hurt. But all of us have a story, every one of us, and nobody goes through life without pain. Like, personally, I'm 23. I've lived in 27 different places by the age of 23. I've lived with family, mother, grandmother, aunties, uncles, friends' houses. You know, I started renting my own rooms when I was 18. It's kind of been from one room to another room, from one place to another place. This year we started in Ireland to Sweden, now Barcelona. You know, we all are crafted by the reality that we've experienced. But we also all have a mind that's so powerful, and that dreams big, and that the world we live in nowadays tries to silence. You don't need to be silenced. And I'm from a town where dreams are made for when you go to sleep. You know, when you wake up, you're back into the same routine, the same consistent cycle of what you don't want to live. And it's sad, but like, being a young lad, as what Irish guys would say, I'm a young lad from Ireland. It's the norm, and it's just made so normal. So, this inevitably wasn't for me. And I know there's going to be guys watching that are like, it's not for me either. And my story, I want to share it with you that you can do something different, right? I started off with drop shipping. I started selling clothes when I was younger. Then I went into crypto. I lost money, I made money. Inevitably, I probably lost more than I made, but I was always searching for something. Then this year, I found appointment setting. And this is what has led me to be able to quit my electrical job. I spent 4 years doing an apprenticeship that I hated. There was multiple times where I stopped going. I'm sure through COVID, everybody pulls the COVID card when they didn't actually have it. But there's going to be so many of you that watch this that are actively every day silencing your dreams, right? And it doesn't matter whether you come from drug abuse, alcohol abuse, bouncing around, not having anyone there, like a soul figure in your life that loved you and cared for you, because you might not physically have one, but inside you and in your mind, God is always there. He always helps you. Throughout my whole life, there's been people in and out. I've never had that soul person, no father. My mother was, I hate to speak bad on what relationship we had, because now I love my mother more than anything in this world. And the woman she is today, I could never be more proud of her. But you can't change what has happened. And there were years we didn't communicate, and that our relationship was stained. But going forward, like, as a godly man, you must forgive and move on. You must forgive. This is a part of our religion. This is a part of our beliefs. You must take accountability for your part in the problem, and you must forgive. Okay? You will never find peace. It's the same with every situation you go through. Whether you've been hurt by people in your life, until you forgive and find peace, you won't be able to move on. So for me, moving on and finding peace and knowing that everybody has their own story, everybody is acting out from their own emotions. And sometimes we have to remember that everybody else just feels normal human emotions like we all do. To really go after what I wanted in life and to start actually being consistent this January and changing my life, I wrote down on a piece of paper why I was going to change. Okay? I wrote down in 6 months where I wanted to be mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually. And I wrote down what me in 6 months' time does every day, so I could start being that person now. Because the level you can get your mind to think and work at, eventually your day-to-day life will catch up. At the start of this year, when I went to Sweden to be an electrician, I didn't know that this was actually all going to change. I didn't know that I'd actually be having guys that I'm mentoring. I didn't know that I'd actually be making money from online sales, info products, whatever you want to call it. I didn't know that this would happen for me. But there was something inside of me that told me it was going to. If you can master your subconscious mind and get it to tell you. Because listen, everything that you want and everything that you dream of is for a reason. God plants seeds in you. And all he asks you to do is water those seeds. Now you can neglect your dreams and push them off. I've single-handedly seen men do that and get to a stage in their life where they just go off the rails, because eventually you will realize that you spend so much time chasing the wrong things. Eventually. And it's going to cause hurt. It's going to cause pain. And I've seen it firsthand. Eventually you'll realize that you've landed yourself in a rut, and you can always get out of it, but the longer it goes on, the deeper you will go, and the harder you will think that it is to get out. The number one thing, so cliche that I know it's so cliche to say this, but the number one thing that I have done this year is invest into myself. I invested into mentorship and being around other guys. I've never been around other guys like this that actually want to improve. Helped me so much because I realized there was more than where I'm from. And there's loads of guys that feel this way too. And when you're able to speak to them and get their views and get an idea as to how they process things, it makes the journey easier. But like, one thing I can say, coming from a guy that I'm telling you is no different to you. The only thing is, I just said, I'm going to die one day. What do I want to be remembered for? If I can motivate one guy to do something and change their life, that means I'm doing what God has put me on this planet to do. Because I want to spread the word and share my experience in hopes that it will inspire somebody else. All the odds were against me. I never had a father. I hate to say this, but you know, I had to teach myself how to become a man. I had to grow up on my own from a young age, and I've never had a sole place to be. But I found comfort in God. I found my home in God. And because of that, and through that mental power, I've now started to build something that I'm proud of, and something that one day my children can look back and be like, you know, my dad really did inspire and tried. No matter what, because there's so much noise in this world nowadays. We live in the most corrupt world that has ever been. This world is coming to its final form. And I really hope, while I live, while my kids live, while their kids live, that the judgment day doesn't come. And that there's a shift, like is happening now, that pushes judgment day off. Because if you believe in the Bible, you believe in resurrection, you believe in the judgment day, and I believe in that. And I really don't want this to be the generation that it comes in. Just tell yourself daily what it is you can do. My mind is worth millions. I do not work for money. Money works for me. You have to tell yourself affirmations daily. You can mentally rewire your brain. You can change your whole reality in a matter of months. In a matter of months. Last summer, I spent it drinking, taking drugs, not developing anything, not working on anything, lost, but slowly building up a relationship with God. And my story is the exact same as so many other young lads. So similar. Now I'm living in Barcelona, working from my laptop. I'm trying to build something because I want to for my family. I'm not like the rest of these guys that come from money and are doing it for them. I am doing it because my family don't have a home. I'm doing this because like there's something deeper in me. And like, mark my words, I will post a YouTube video of me buying my mother a house. I will post a YouTube video of me telling my mother that she never has to work again. And I will post a YouTube video in years to come as to how I was able to incorporate my brother into the business that I built. Because me and my brother were never shown stability. We never had one fixed home. We never had money. We never had the finer things. We never had family holidays. We barely were shown family. We have got a strong woman in our life now, our mother, who has changed her life, and I'm so proud to be able to say that. But I hope this video fuels you to grow into the person you want to become, because every day that's what I'm going to do. So if you feel like you can benefit from me, shoot me a text. I can share with you a couple of words that might help you on your path, but find God. You will then find yourself. Write down on the wall what it is you want to do, why you were born, because you were made for a reason. We all have a purpose. Some people find it, some people don't. Don't be the person that doesn't find their purpose.